Hey, hi folks, how are you? Graham Cooper here from Cooper and Cooper Investment Property Solutions. Look, I've talked about many things in many videos, and I just want to, just to reconfirm to you, as possibly a potential property investor, that there are so many rewards apart from the financial rewards of getting good capital growth from your property and having a great tenant and having lots of rent coming in, the rent going up every year, and the capital growth going up, and you're literally banking money without while you sleep. There are many other benefits, just to cover a couple of things. In the early years, because we started in the 70s and early 70s, and by the 80s we were feeling quite comfortable, and we were able. It gave us the freedom to take time out to enjoy life, to smell the roses, as they say, and to observe nature around us, and to live a life of fulfillment even in those early years. So in 1980 we actually took 2 years off. 2 years. Wonderful. And we left Sydney for a while because we were a little bit, burnt out from all the activity and the properties we've been purchasing, and and getting ourselves established, and paying down debts, and everyone was lending us money because we were such a secure borrower, because we had property. We had real concrete, foundation of properties that secured that debt. The lenders weren't concerned about lending us money because they knew that if anything happened, they could sell the properties and get all their money back. And so we were an ideal customer. We used to get telegrams back in those days, telegrams with companies offering to lend us money, because we were such a good, secure borrower, because we were backed by investment properties. So anyway, we took some time off, and we went to live on the far north coast of New South Wales, a little town called Coffs Harbour. At the time, didn't even have a McDonald's up there, much to our disappointment at the time. We didn't have any children then, so it was early years. But what we did in that time was, I just always had a penchant to be creative and be productive, and so what we did was we decided that after my dad had said to me, when you become successful, you should just take it easy and go fishing. And look, my dad was a working class man, and he brought up a big family of 9 kids, which they did in those days, and worked for the government for 30, 40 years, and never really aspired to anything other than his family, which he gave all his time to. But he did pay attention to some of the things I said as I became more successful, and I will say that in his later years he did take my advice and buy some property, because he'd never been a property owner, because he didn't come from, we're English family. I was born in England, he was born in England, and we immigrated out here under the £10 POM plan, and so it was a different mentality, but he had the courage to come here. Imagine moving your family halfway across the world to a strange country. But he had that wanderlust to come here, and that sense of adventure, and I'm grateful for that. I'm forever grateful for my parents' courage to come here. But so he did take some advice from me, and he did speculate, although I was against that. I'm not into speculating, I'm looking into solid investment, but he did speculate, bought a few blocks of land, and made some very handsome money, I might add. He was buying blocks of land in 1980 in Coffs Harbour. They were like $3,000, $6,000, and a couple of hundred metres from the beach. I mean, you know, people don't necessarily have the foresight to see the future, but I was, you know, gifted in that sense that I could anticipate, I could have a vision of the future, and so I, you know, followed my intuition, my gut feel, and so my father did make some good money out of buying and selling land, vacant land. But we went to Coffs Harbour, and after, let me tell you, if you go fishing almost every day for like 3 or 6 months, you get bored. You get bored. And I got bored. And even though I would come home, I'd go fishing early in the morning, catch some whiting at the beach there, and bring it home and cook it, and have some nice fresh fish for lunch, and have a bottle of wine, and of course Coffs Harbour is a sort of semi-tropical location and climate, and it got quite warm in the afternoon, so we used to just have a snooze in the afternoon. You know, I was in my early 30s, for goodness sake. How can you have semi-retirement at 33 years of age? Folks, this is what investment property can do for you. So we, you know, after getting bored with fishing, I decided to follow one of my father's passions, which was fossicking and gem hunting, and I did some research at Coffs Harbour, and I joined the Lapidary Club, and I used to spend a lot of time in the library learning about gemological history and the geology of Australia, and one day a gentleman at the Lapidary Club said, listen, I've been up into Queensland, and I've found all these gems, and you know, I went to this place and that place, and look, why don't you and your wife come over to our place and have a cup of tea, and you know, I'll tell you all our stories. And he was in his late 50s or whatever, and so he was, you know, typically retired, and so off we went to his house, and I said, well, where are your gems? And he said, just a minute. And he said, I just got the back shed, and so he came back, and he had this 20-litre, you know, like a paint drum, a white paint drum, and he said, I'll just take the lid off here. He said, there's about 2 or 3 inches, that's, you know, about 4 or 5 centimetres in the bottom there of gems. And so he took the lid off, and I had a look in it, and here's this beautiful sky blue, just like our logo there up on the sign behind me, beautiful blue, light blue through to that deep blue there, sky blue topaz. And these things were like ice blocks, you know, they were like they were like those ice blocks that you put in your summer drink, and I was smitten. I can tell you I was. I said, so where did you go? And he drew us what they call a mud map, a diagram with a biro pen on a piece of white paper, and he said, oh, and by the way, we went to the sapphire country as well at Ruby Vale, and we did this, and we walked up this track, and we dug in this hole here, and we got this 20 carat sapphire, which we sold on the field for, I think he said something like $5,000 or $10,000, sold to the gem dealers on the field. So next morning, I don't think we even locked up the house, jumped into our Volvo, because, you know, we were living the rather affluent life, and jumped into our Volvo wagon, and off we went, and I drove for like 16 hours, because you could in those days, and you know, I was young, in my early 30s, and that began another adventure of fossicking, and let me tell you that, and look, there's another whole story, and I'll do a video on that, because that's truly an amazing adventure. I met an original crocodile Dundee, and we found many gems, and we came back with kilos of gemstones, which we had to go and put in a bank vault, because obviously for the security. But anyway, look, that's another story, and as I'm saying, you know, there's a lot more to life once you are a property investor and all the benefits that it can bring to you. What a wonderful life. What a fortunate life we've had. And I invite you to join us. Become one of us. Become one of the people who have the courage to follow their dreams. Follow your dreams, folks. All you have to do is go to our website, www.cooperandcooper.com.au, fill in our contact form, tell us who you are, give us your contact details. We'll get together, we can chat over the phone, we can chat by email, we can FaceTime, we can do all these wonderful things that we can do these days with modern technology, and we can help you get started on this wonderful journey of property investment. So, as they say, stay safe and stay well. Have a great day. Talk to you again soon. Bye for now.